I'm going to do that. So all that preamble, I'll go over again. Can you guys all see me?
Yes.
Yep. Cool. So I'll get rid of that. Turn on some lights so you can actually see. Turn my screen so I can actually see a little bit. Here's something I was talking about. So we're going to paint some rocks today, and we're going to do a warm up with that. Do you guys see all these little
Rocks.
Can you guys see all this stuff?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was done with a rub off. And I already put some Frisket on here. And this works equally well. That one thing I showed you, that forest with the glowy light, that's a rock in the boonies. That's not at the ocean. That's a rock in the boonies. So, but that's okay. It's the same principle. So this technique is going to be for the surf. So I can show you that, but I just wanted to show you this really quick. So can everybody see this mask? I'm going to even make it more visible. Okay, so this is my mask that I put down, and I use PBO mask. I use this stuff, drawing gum, and I do it because it's gray. This is what Nita Engel used. She's gone, but that's her mask, or her favorite, and it's because it's gray. I can see where I put the mask. I know there are several masks on the market that are white, and I don't get it because I can't tell where I mask. Anyway, I'm just going to take my index finger, and I'm just going to start lightly rubbing this. Can you guys see?
Oh,
Yes.
See those holes?
yeah.
And I can rub around the edges of this to make it a little more organic. You know, where the rubber meets the road, so and then so forth. And I can keep rubbing, and you see how those holes get bigger?
Yes.
Yeah, so anyway, that's a pretty cool, if you get nothing else out of today, it's this.
I like it.
Anyway, so just for fun right now, I'm just going to put, yes? I'm just going to put a little color on this. And then I'm going to wait for that to dry, and I'm going to rub some more holes in it. And then because this has already got that color, now I could rub some more holes in it and use another color and you see how this is darker? This is darker, this is lighter, here's some blue. So we're gonna do the same thing to the surf. So while this is drying, we'll put that over here. This is not anything except a demo on, so you guys can all see it. So don't worry about starting something yet. I want to put, and after I do this, I want you to do it.
Joe, I'm sorry, my computer crashed and I've been gone for a bit. What did you just do?
Oh, who's this, Kathy?
Kathy,
Oh, what did you say?
my computer crashed and I had to restart. I've been gone for about 7 minutes. Did you see what you just did?
Oh, I just did this. I did the rub off. I rubbed some of this mask.
Oh, okay.
Here's there's not only the ocean that you can do, You can do rocks. You can do that texture. So all I did was rub off. If you can see this closely, I just rubbed that gently. And you see all those little holes it's making? That's what I did to the mask. And that's going to be the water going through. So what I want to do here, because we're using a mask, first I think I want to try to put this cable so it's not getting in my way. Okay, I think everybody can see that, and this is kind of my reference, and I am using PBO masking fluid. And the big deal with this is I am going to walk over here and I'm going to the cup. I'll use one of these cups. And I'm going to get a cup, and I need a smaller cup, but I haven't got one right now. And I'm going to use some dishwashing liquid. And I'm going to just fill it full of some water. And that's what I'm going to dip my brush in, because I'm using a good brush. I don't believe in putting mask on with a crappy brush. And why is that? Is because when you paint mask, and Nita Engel did teach me how to paint mask. I'm painting light is what I'm doing. So I'm not going to skimp on painting light. And I'm going to dip my brush in here, and I'm not going to go to the metal because that would not be good, because the mask would get sucked up and I can't get it out. So I'm just going to go that far. And I'm going to go look at my reference, and I see that I have a rock breaking here. And I have another rock breaking here, and I don't have to be careful. I don't have to be too careful at all. I can, because I'm going to be able to rub off. When you're painting with mask,
No tank.
you don't have to be that careful, because you can just rub off what you don't want. So there's some pretty free form mask. And here's another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to spatter it. And I can go back later. I don't care if oh no, I screwed that up. No, I didn't, because I can just go back and rub it off. So I can just kind of, there's my rock shape, and I can just take that edge out, and I don't care if it, in fact, I kind of like it when it, some of that water sprays over the top of those rocks. Okay, so I put some mask on there, and you don't have to do it this big. I'm doing it for demonstration purposes.
Hey Joe, what's the best way to wash the brush?
Warm soapy water, and that's why I made that, put that dishwashing liquid in there.
Oh.
It's warm soapy water, and what you should do, and what I'm going to do right now while you guys are doing that, I'm going to go wash my brush out in the sink.
Is it on the hot pressed or the cold pressed paper?
I'm sorry?
this on the hot pressed or the cold pressed paper?
This just happens to be a piece of cold press, but it doesn't make any difference. It works the same with both.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't make any difference. I'll be right back. It's just a little sample because we're going to do this. We're going to scrape rocks. We're going to put in some water. And then once we do these individually, then we can go back and we can do a painting. We can do our painting. So I'll demonstrate each one of these little things individually. Oh, here's one more thing before I stop. I just remembered this. So I'm going to put some masks down. And this is Leon. I don't know if you know him. I'm going to put a blob of mask right here. Can you guys all see this? That's my blob. See what I just did?
Neat.
Yeah.
See what I just did?
Yes. Yes.
I can go rub that off and play with it and do what I want to do, but I can't paint that. I can't paint that organically. I mean, it's too contrived. It would look like a human did it. Okay, my brush is clean. How's everybody doing?
So are we doing a practice like you just did of that?
I'm just putting down some texture. While that's drying, I'm going to rub some more holes into this guy. just to show you the difference. Remember the warm soapy water to keep dipping your brush. By the way, for those of you who've already been in these workshops or anytime, I don't care if anything turns out today. In fact, for me, when I go to a workshop, I want to fail most of the time because that means I'm trying stuff.
Yeah.
Learning stuff. I'm learning what not to do. And that's more important than learning what to do, although that's part of it because it's discovery. But I embrace failure. I think that's, I wish there were another word because people have a bad take on that word. Oh no, I'm a loser, I failed, blah, blah, blah. No, you're learning something. That's the big deal, is you're learning something. And if you're afraid to fail, then you won't try. So my big deal is try. What the hell? It's a piece of paper. I'm with friends. So it doesn't make any difference. Anyway, I'm going to dry this off so I can take it off.
How are you doing, Jerry?
I'm just rubbing this mask off and I'm doing it with a paper towel. And that will, if it's damp at all, it will help to do it with a paper towel as opposed to your fingers. And I'm going to throw the boogers away. And now you guys can see what we did in a very short amount of time. We created all this beautiful texture that we could not have done any other way. And for me to for me to use that in a shape, I could have had a predetermined shape already. But if I just paint this with a rock shape over it, and I'm just doing this quickly.
Joe, I'm not seeing your screen.
You're not
I
seeing
see
my
your-
screen?
I see your studio. I'm not.
I think it's I'm on share. Could everybody else see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Go in the speaker view.
I'm in my share shared screen right now. I think it's got to be on your end from the. And if you guys have an issue with anything, leave the meeting and go back and log back in. I have learned that the hard way or easy way. Anyway, so I'm just putting a wash over the top of this. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Can you see how that makes that beautiful
Yeah,
texture?
that's great.
Or at least I think it's cool. That's just me. Anyway, I'm going to do the same thing to this guy. And I just want to do this quickly. I'm just going to rub some holes in this.
You fix it?
In my mask. And I want to make it random. And if I don't like some of these, as I said before, I don't like those, I'm just going to rub them off. Well, I didn't want that dot there, and this is a little bit too drastic, so I'm going to do that. And I want to rub some lace around these edges, especially up here where it starts to hit the edge. So this is kind of what that looks like. Now that I've rubbed some holes in it. And if you haven't done this before, don't worry about it. We're going to paint. This is for practice. We're going to paint when we paint the other guys. You'll be pros. I wanted to show you something that is part of this stroke, but not necessarily part of what we're painting today. This is also another workshop that I did, is about edges. Also, I'd appreciate some feedback if you want to do anything about edges, because this was the final painting for this.
Ooh.
So all these edges are wet and wet, which we'll be doing today. This is your usual wet on dry. This is your palette knife or scraping or squeegeeing. This is dry on dry, to where I'm just hitting the tops of the paper. So I could have had a big wave splashing here, but that's not what this was about. And there's also a little bit of this down here, which was what I call wet dry. which means I sprinkled, I didn't wet the paper, I sprinkled the paper. So I have all these little dots of water. And I don't know where the paint's gonna hit. But when I start making these back and forth strokes for water, some of them are gonna be wet and bloom or blow up, and some aren't. It's like a half spatter, half. If you spatter water and then spatter paint, some of that's gonna bloom and some of it's not. Anyway, I wanted to show you this area. And also I wanted to show you this as far as a rock goes. This is a rock in the boonies, but this is how I made that rock. I put down a bright color or a mid-tone color. I waited for that to dry. And then I put a darker color down on top of it, and I actually sculpted that over the top. And we can do the same thing with these guys. Sculpting over the top after this color and after the dark color. So there's really a bunch of techniques you're going to get to do today, keeping in mind in one painting. By the way, just like this isn't a rock, this is kind of similar but without the weeds of what we're doing today. This is kind of cool because it's different. With this same tool right here, with this same tool, I can do this. And I can do this. So instead of sculpting rocks, I'm sculpting folds. So that's a Singer Sargent, and then that's somebody else. And here's how I did it. I put down this light. I put down this light color, and then I put a mid-tone on top of that, all over it. I covered up the orange, and then I went back and I sculpted those out of it, and then I added the darks. So now I am sculpting. I'm sculpting. It's very effective, I think. Very effective. This was all just a red shape, and I sculpted all those folds, and then I went and added the darks to it. So I hope that helps give you some scope to this. How you guys doing?
Good.
Good. So in 5 minutes, 11 o'clock, I'm going to paint a rock. So we've kind of got the mask figured out, kind of, sort of. We'll work a little bit on that too, so you can see what happens. But I just want to get these pieces in play. I'm going to use what I consider very important for watercolor. I usually don't paint flat. I don't paint with this flat because what happens, nothing happens, nothing moves. Mr. Gravity, which is just came off of a shipping container on a plot that I bought. You okay? I am going to just put in a little, I'm going to put in the sky right here because I want this to dry and I want you to be able to see that later. There's my sky and there's my horizon line. And I'll just make that sky just a little bit darker some places. Here we go. Here's a little something different for you guys. I don't know. I could paint this back and forth, this ocean in here, just to emulate some of that stuff. And I'll show you a trick with that. But I can also use my dagger brush. I can do three things. I can use my dagger brush, which looks like this. It's very floppy, and I can just go back and forth like this to indicate that there is some ocean back there. And I don't want to go up to that edge because that's still wet. I want to keep that horizon line. So I can do also that. I can do that up here even better. Another way to do that is I'll take the same paint and I'm going to blot my brush, and I'm going to hold my brush at an even no angle. It's actually no angle. Booger. Anyway, to get those sun sparklies on the water, and we might as well cover that while we're here too. This is much more than that workshop that I did before. We're covering a lot more stuff. Anyway, I'm just going to take this and I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to drag it like this, and I'm just going to try to hit the tops of the paper. See how that makes those little sparkly edges. And I can especially do it down here, but I don't want to do that yet. I want to kind of walk through this simply. Oh, and while I'm painting that, all these holes I have in here, I'm going to paint those. That's the difference between the white. That's why we worked so hard to put those holes in there, huh? I'm painting right over the masking, so it's not going to make any difference.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Are you using the back part looks like indigo, and then in the front it looks like a different color of blue? So
I'm just-
are you using?
Just using basically a kind of a phthalo with some cerulean and a little bit of ultramarine as I go along. I'm getting yellower and brighter as I come forward.
All right. Okay.
It's not a big deal. It's more about the value than the color.
Yes. What about yes?
But when I paint the ocean, at the horizon line, it's usually darker. In this case, it's different, but it's usually darker. And I will paint ultramarine and then work my way forward, and the blue gets greener. It's got yellow in it.
Okay.
By the way, while this is drying, here's another way to paint the ocean. And if this were the horizon line and there was a sailboat out here or some here, I'll put some islands in out here. There's a cap, something else, and there's another island. Now it looks more like water. Anyway, this part up here, if you can see that closely, I'll come in a little bit more. If you can see this part closely, some of you already know this. That's taking a piece of plastic wrap or saran wrap.
Oh.
And I had a whole workshop on 3 different ways to paint water. And part of it was just normal. I'm going to paint around wet and wet and then wet on dry. Part of it, this was done with a knife, sculpting those waves or those differences in the reflective surface. This was done by taking a piece of plastic wrap and stretching it tight like this, and then putting it down on wet paint. And that gives you all these beautiful little things that you wouldn't paint normally. That looks like ocean. It looks like water. So anyway, there's one more little extra, I think, that might help you guys. Not only just doing this, but later on. Okay, I'm going to start painting one of these rocks here. And I'm going to do just what I said about, I'm going to use color. I'm going to use some orange. And my light's coming from over here. So I'll put a dot there. There's my light. And so I want this lit. This is the shadow side. This is going to be the brighter side. And I'm going to take my brush and the side of it and just once again go along the edge. I just don't want that to be straight. Those rocks blend in together. And I've got another rock down here. I want a little color to show through, so I'm adding some color to these rocks.
Can you tell us what colors you're using?
I'm using cat orange. This was the first one was just a mix of contaminated palette, cat orange, because I want a little brighter color on that side. This is alizarin. And it's just so I have this base color that I can go back and I can scrape back into. I can put the darker over that color and go back into it. So you guys saw me put that brighter color down just to start making shapes of rocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm going to put a darker over the top of that, and I'm going to use purple, anything that I can make dark. I'm going to use my contaminated palette. I'm going to use some purple and alizarin just to warm it up a little bit. And then I'm going to use some Payne's Gray. Make kind of a warm burgundy kind of color. I want to stay on the warmer side of this. So now I can actually just go, I can cover this all up. See how I'm just covering it up? And now I can go back, and I don't need that, but I can go back and I can put, I can sculpt where the light is coming on that side of that rock. And this side of the rock is going to be darker. And I can cover most of this up. I want to keep some rough edge around the bottom here because that's going to be watery. And then I can just go back and I can, this is always great fun. Look at that. Look how dimensional that looks already. I'm just barely touching that part of that. Huh?
It does.
Yeah, I mean, it's so kind of easy to do. It's kind of like, well, it's not cheating, but it's kind of like amazing to me that you can just, with watercolor especially, you can just suggest so many things without having to state them. So I don't know why I would want to be an oil painter and paint real rocks when I can fake them. They look more real to me. Anyway, so this is just for you guys to try. So try stuff here because you still have a couple of paintings left to do. And those are going to be much easier now that we've done this.
Great fun.
Yeah, it is fun. I think it's fun. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Okay, dokie.
Oh, it's not dry. Damn it. It's so dry. Sorry, guys, for the noise.
And this keeps at like 5 minutes from now. Zoom, zoom. Okay.
There's one thing that I haven't shown you guys. I'm trying to show you a bunch of stuff on one painting. And I'm not concerned about the surface at this time. I'm going to show you, so I get something to sop it up with. I'm going to show you this syringe. Ornita Engel called them Euler boilers. And if you have her book, you'll recognize this guy. So it's a syringe, but I found better syringes. So I have this syringe. Oh no.
I gotta go get mine.
You have to go?
In trouble though, people like when they were up here, this one would go black for a while. That one would go black for a while.
It's hard when there's a lot of people on it. Then you people can, because yesterday the virtual class, they kept like,
So this is my syringe. And you can get like 4 different sizes of these on Amazon. So I'm just going to try this. I haven't tried this on this before, but I'm going to try this. Can everybody see me?
Yes.
I have paint in here, transparent color, and I'm just going to go back and forth in wave motions or this kind of stuff going back and forth. And then I'll go back and play with it later, but
Hi, Diane. Give me a call when you have time. Bye.
what? That broke up. So anyway, I just drew with that. I'm trying to get the top back on. And now I'm going to use my spray bottle. And I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm just going to spray it a little bit. Look at this.
Oh, beautiful.
Look how that starts to look like water. And now that I've got that for my some kind of texture, that's a little bit too blue for me. So, but I've got that to work with. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, neat.
I'm just going to go back with my angled flat, and I'm going to marry some of this stuff together and put, I want this to be darker along the bottom here, but I like having these little bubbly guys. And I'm just going to use some panes, especially on this side over here, to kind of break this up. And that's pretty blue. It's really blue. I don't want that to be too prominent. And now I can also go back with my palette knife, and I don't have time yet, but I can go back and cut into that with my own weight or water. It's usually pretty effective.
Because when he tries to download stuff for his games, he'll tell him to do this or that. Jump right in there.
Oh,
Okay. I'm gonna dry this off real quick. I'm going to start rubbing some of this mask off so I can see what I have, because I don't know what I have yet.
does the blue have to be dry?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It has to be dry, dry. Because we waited a long time on, we did the mask first, and we put the color on it.
I hope it's true, Joe, because I put too much masking,
I'm
so I
sorry,
can erase it.
I couldn't hear you.
I put too much frisket.
Oh, well, that's why we're doing this.
You know, this rock is a disaster. You know, it's an
Because you
explosion.
learned something, right?
Well, yeah. You lead to destructions, huh?
Well, this is just our little practice thing. I'm showing you several techniques in here because I can, because it's a practice thing. That looks like that kind of seeped under. Interesting. I'm just wetting it a little bit, and I'm lifting. And I'm not scrubbing too much because it's going to ruin the paper, but I'm just lifting it for some of that wind spray. And I'm going to blot some of this where that's peeking up behind that rock. And I think I will continue this. Through there. I like the little bit of overlap that we are having. I'm going to just take my flat brush and I'm going to scrub around in here a little bit. And I'm holding it way at the end. I'm trying to be pretty organic with it. And I'm just trying to get an organic edge, a rough edge to that. I'm using the side of my brush. And I'm also going to use my brush, round brush. And, I'm going to mix up some white in my jar here that will release. So now I'm just spattering some of this to blend those edges. It makes it, it's a very effective way to, and very organic way to glue together. When I say glue things together, I mean connect. I think I'm ready to see what this looks like. So I'm going to take the tape off so I can actually look at it. I can always retape it. I do this a lot. I put the tape on there so I have an instant mat and can get rid of the mess. And I can see what I have left to do or not. So I don't know whether you can kind of see that.
Beautiful. You make it look so easy.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest, I've done it before.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. I've done it before, so yeah, it's gonna be a little different. I want that to stay dark. I want this to stay darker over here, especially right under here. Now you can go back and make all these little adjustments. I made this rock behind this other guy just lighter. I just put some water on it and blotted it. So that definitely puts this rock in the front. When I mentioned that sun sparkles before, I'm going to have to dry this first, I think, for me to be able to do that. But I'm going to use my X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to gouge along here, and I'll take a shot of it. If I get along here, see how I can make those sun sparkles? Can you see those?
Oh,
Yes?
yes.
Okay, so you can do that. So now I'm making sun sparkles. So now I can do, this has got so many different things in it that I want you to see. This is the syringe where I sprinkled it and it blew up. And these are the sun sparkles, which maybe if I put some on this rock right here, that's kind of cool. And maybe a little, few right there. So I'm just going to let you guys paint for a little bit, if that's okay.
Yes. Yes.
And if you have any questions, please just ask them, because I don't have the chat open, I don't think.
I don't have PBO.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, the reason I use PBO is because the only reason is because it's gray.
No, but I don't have any frisket of any kind because I had PBO, but you know, it has a shelf value. And when I opened it, it was just a lump. So I put it out.
Can you break the surface and mix it up?
No, I've thrown it out. I threw it out.
Okay. But you know what to do with the mask, I hope.
Well, I also had one of those pens, and that's also.
Yeah, you'll have the video.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So then you can go back and kind of review.
Yes, I have the video, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to practice after the class. I'm going to go out and find some PBO.
Okay. This is just to get you guys going.
Oh yes, I love this demo.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Suppose you and you're gonna use some of this stuff, and you're not gonna use some of it, and you know it's just gonna be. That's why I think the video is valuable, because we've covered quite a bit.
Yes.
We've seen quite a bit of techniques here.
Yeah.
And I forgot to do the sparkle, but when I do the next one, I'll do it from the reference, so we'll all be on the same page. I'll do the hot press one. I just wanted to show you this because usually the first time people try a bunch of stuff, it doesn't turn out, and I want that to happen because that's the only way you know where the line is. If you've told me that you've know how to ski and you never fallen, I don't believe you.
That's very true.
Yeah, so. This is all gouache, which means it's opaque watercolor and it's a different bind than transparent watercolor. And it dries matte, which is beautiful, and it dries very luminous, which is beautiful. But you can paint these the same amount of time. I mean, these are very quick. These are indications. Oh, I wanted to put that in there and I forgot because I was doing this, so I can do that later. That's the advantage of gouache. I can paint over it, but I can paint all this just transparently. I mean, that looks very transparent to me. And then I can paint gouache or opaque over the top of that. And you can get very washy with this. Whole thing was orange, and I cut back around with that darker color. Here is that's how when I say paint fat over lean, that's what I mean by that, because I can just put in these washes of gouache that look just like watercolor, transparent watercolor. And then I can come back and I can cut this in with opaque watercolor or gouache. And I can paint all this with opaque watercolor. And this is another example of just being a wash. And then I can come back in and define. I don't have to mask these little highlights. I can paint those in later. I can paint this in later. I can soften these edges. I can do whatever. I can sculpt. And here's one that's, and the gouache will gradate. It'll blend very nicely. Keeping that in mind, these are pretty transparent washes gone over with a little darker, a little lighter. And here is, again, it's gouache, but look at it, looks like watercolor. Those blooms, those edges, same thing. Same thing. So anyway, I thought I'd just share that.
If you do a,
Maybe that's your workshop is painting in gouache. If you're all used to painting in water media, anyway, it's a nice little thing to do because it gives you a lot more options. And by the way, you all know that if you just mix white paint with any of your transparent watercolors, you'll make it gouache.
oh,
So any of these paints on my palette, if I mix white paint with those, it'll be gouache. That means I can paint over a darker surface or image or shape. So
that's good to know.
anyway, I hope that makes a little sense. I know some of you have probably painted in gouache before.
Yes.
There's not too many gouache painters out there. I don't know why. They're usually like me. They're old illustrators. And that was the medium of choice because it was due at 9 o'clock in the morning. So if you had to make a change, you couldn't go back and refrisk it, eh? You had to paint over it.
Okay.
This is on cold press. And, this is on cold press. And if I were painting this, which is kind of what we got done doing, I would paint the sky going across, but then I would go back with a damp brush and I would lift all this and blot it with paper towel or Kleenex or something to make my shape intersecting into that. And then I'd spatter with white paint, but there's no mask on this one at all. So it's pretty a standard way to paint. I'm seeing all this and I'm going painting from light to dark, etc. So that's a little bit different than what we just did, but that's the normal way that y'all paint anyway. So. So how about if we start the next one about noon? So that gives you about 10 minutes to stretch your legs or get something to drink or go to the bathroom or do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Be back in 10 minutes.
Yeah, you can, wherever you are, you don't have to finish this this minute. You can, there we go. You don't have to finish this minute. You can finish it later. I just want you to, so you can see and something sticks with you about these techniques.
Joe,
I'm gonna fix a martini if Bloody Mary. I think a Bloody Mary is in sync for today. I'll say the martinis for Monday. Even down a sheet of hot press.
How do I get out of?
Joe, when you did the spray, and you put the white or whatever what the hell? This in. How did you, and then you blow it? What else did you did? I think I missed one step there.
I don't know what these are. What are those yellow lines from? Huh. I have no idea. Oh, I must have had the annotation thing on. What do you mean the spray? You mean the?
Look at the disaster. Okay, in this area.
Okay, I'm gonna hang on a second. This is what we'll do. I'm gonna stop the share. I'm gonna highlight Lewis so he can show us. Okay.
Here we are. This area here, you splashed some white, but I didn't know.
Oh, the white after I rubbed off the mask.
Okay.
I rubbed mask first, and then I saw what I had, and then I used spatter. I spattered white paint.
Okay.
I spattered it. I just full loaded a brush with paint, the consistency so it would release, and not too thick, not too thin, and spattered it.
Okay, got it.
Then I could go over some of the rocks, and it would look organic.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody else want to have a question?
You mentioned,
I mentioned,
well,
oh,
some-
here, let me spotlight.
do I need to rub more of this mask off,
Uh,
Joe?
You're too close to the camera. Pull it back a little bit. There you go. And all these little gray things, mask.
Yeah,
Yeah, take all the mask off. That's not going to be archival anyway. As soon as it's all dry, take off the mask.
yeah, it's wet.
Okay, then you'll have to do it when it's dry.
Okay.
Yeah.
See down here at the bottom?
Yeah, it looks, yeah, wait till it's completely dry. Use a dryer on low or cool, or it's kind of dangerous to put it in the sun if you forget,
Yeah.
because you won't be able to take the mask off.
Okay, it'll bake it.
Yeah, it'll bake it on. It'll bake it in.
Oh. Okay. Thank you.
I want a Mai Tai. Looking at
Coming up.
Andy's background, I want a Mai Tai.
Joe,
If she goes to the kitchen and shows up with a drink with an umbrella in it, I'm gonna be very jealous.
I don't have any pineapple juice, so you're good.
Okie dokie. Hey, I got my hot press all taped. So what have you guys?
No,
What have you guys been doing for fun to get out of the house?
Haven't gone out of the house.
I haven't gone out of the house.
Yeah.
I've been sewing masks like crazy for our group.
Oh,
So,
good. Good for you.
yeah, got tons of them. So if you need any, let me know.
I have my son-in-law before this whole thing broke, December. He sent me a hazmat suit. He sent our family a hazmat suit, gloves, masks, disinfectant, everything.
Oh,
Crazy.
he
You're
loves you.
holding up something, Luis.
yeah. Are you familiar with this type of brand?
Yeah,
Because I have a set of gouache.
Yeah,
So
I've used their brushes,
uh-huh.
their watercolor brushes before.
Oh, okay. Well, I tried this to try it, but this is the opaque gouache.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you could, when we're done here, you could take that sometime this week and try the same thing in gouache.
Okay.
And in fact, I ran into a guy that Rick put me on to, James Gurney. He has a YouTube channel on most of his stuff is gouache.
Oh.
So there's lots of stuff. Go to YouTube, put in gouache painting, and you'll see tons of it.
Gurney, you say, how do you spell that? Gurney, G-U?
G-U-R-N-E-Y. James Gurney. Put in James Gurney gouache on YouTube, and you'll find about 30 YouTube lessons or tutorials or just videos. Anyway.
Joe,
Yes.
you had mentioned early on at the beginning on the sky on the right-hand side, there was some texture or something, and you were going to tell us what you did.
Well, yeah, I didn't. That's one thing that I forgot to do is a sprinkle for the texture.
Yeah. Is that just water?
Yeah, I'll do that on the next one.
Okay.
That was maybe that was the Yupo guy. Maybe it was this guy. Yeah, up in here. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Share. up in, can you see this?
Yes.
Up in here, see those little subtle dots?
Uh-huh.
That was from sprinkling water on this blue when it was half dry.
Oh, okay.
You can get another layer of depth by doing that. I am going to try to put our, I have to go to, I have to go to this.
It's too busy, but yeah. It's a practice.
You just gotta fill in the white.
Yeah.
Lighter blue.
It's a practice. So after I already did it, he said, well, the sun's dry because the wind is wet. It's melting at your feet. You're really protecting it up.
Now move this over here. Do that. There we go. Okay, I think I can see everybody, and I'm going to put this, can you guys see all this?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Lisa.
I'm putting this up in the corner. This is going to be my, reference. And you'll notice that I put the one up that is grayscale as
Oh,
opposed to
yes.
sky. We all know what this color is going to be because we just painted it. So this is what I want you to look at are the shapes here. I will put this aside. And I will bring back the palette. And here is my, here's my sheet of, make that smaller. Here's my sheet of hot press, which is just a quarter sheet. So I think you guys can see that, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to use my reference here. I'm going to use I have reference here, which I've changed. Obviously, I've made the horizon line. There's the end of my reference. So this horizon line for me is, so I've changed that from the photo, and I have the right to do that because I'm an artist. So I'm going to use a third of the top. I'm going to go like this. Everybody can see that, I hope.
Yes.
Kind of, sort of. So there's my horizon line. That's the first thing that I do, remember? There's my horizon line going across. Look at that, it's pretty straight. How'd that happen? And next thing I'm going to do is, where's my light coming from? So I'm going to make a dot. My light's coming from up here, my sunshine, a light bulb. And I do that so I don't forget where it's coming from. I'm going to use this as an example. I have this rock in the front. I'll just start there. So I'm seeing this proportion on my page. So where's that rock come out? It comes out right there, and it's right there. So if I say, okay, I'm about right here, and it's going to go down to about right here, So that's my rock. That's my shape. Okay. So that's an easy way for me to find my shape. And then I'm going to say, okay, where does this? It's got a slight angle to it, and it's going to be about like that. And that, what I just drew, is this. What I just drew is this. So where does that come out? It comes out there. So that's a little lower, that's a little higher. So where does that come out? Now, the next thing I'm going to do is where's the point of this rock? It's about almost halfway, not quite. It's about right there. And how is it? It's about right here someplace. So if I go down to here and here on this page, I'm gonna draw my rock. So that's gonna be my big triangle rock, and I see I have another something curvy thing going on in there, and I see I have a shape with the water breaking over. You can see it better here, and I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna put this back here. And then I have this wave, or this crashing wave, yes. And so I think I'll make this rock just a little bit more prominent. And I'm gonna raise that a little bit. Now I have this little rock here, which is kind of important for me. So I'm gonna put it in there. I'm gonna make this a little lower now that I see it. And here is my ocean, and here's some waves out here. And now I'm concerned with what is this wave breaking? I see some waves. I'm looking at this side, and then I'm looking off to here, and I'm looking at this wave, this top of this wave. And see that big C curve? I want that big C curve somewhere in there, and that goes about like that. And then I'm going to make that, I'm going to make a gap there, a little wedge, and I have this stuff breaking, and I have all this breaking, and I have this dark rock in this area, so I don't want to forget that. That's the peek through. That's that wave breaking over that rock, and that rock is kind of hidden. And then I have all this, this guy coming up and over. So there's kind of, sorta, and I think it's a pretty good plan. There's kind of sort of my shapes. So I've got this big rock here. I've got my I guess that water line right there. That's kind of at an angle. I've got this rock showing off in the front, and I don't want to make that halfway. I want to go beyond it or short of it. And then I've got all this other stuff. I don't have to draw all this other stuff, this water. I don't have to draw the sky, because that's going to be, I'm going to paint that. That's going to be free form. Okay? I have a little bit up here. Does that make sense to you guys? Can you see that well enough?
Yes.
So that's how I start a painting. That's how I start any painting. I usually have in mind, I usually have my value study, i.e. this guy, already done. Here I did it with Photoshop, but I want to see the shapes. And I'm going to refer to this more than I'm going to refer to this because I know my palette. Hey, it's blue and brown. What the hell? Okay, I'll give you guys a couple minutes to
Yes. To
draw that out, and I'm going to start masking so it can be dry. That's what I'm going to do.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you show that note 10? The value, the note 10 again?
It's up in the upper left-hand corner.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. See,
I'm
that
gonna-
simplifies it. That's pretty basic, isn't it?
Yes. I have that notanizer on my phone, but I need to put it on my iPad.
Oh, good.
Mhm.
Well, that's very valuable because now it makes it far less intimidating. It makes it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to dip my brush in warm soapy water, and then I'm going to mask. I'm going to use some mask. And I don't need to get it too thick. Okay, because I've blobbed some of the mask, here's a little thing that I can do. I'm just going to take a paper towel and I'm just going to put it lightly over the top of this. So it's going to dry a little faster for me because I don't need the blob. I don't need blobs. I just had to have enough on here to protect the paper. And all this stuff, this over, just let it dry and it'll rub right off.
Oh, come on.
And I'm going to leave my brush in this warm, soapy water.
Want a cold drink?
Oh, that would be great.
Soak for a little bit.
I have little Cortana getting into my life. Cortana is a pain on the neck. I don't know why it's here. Okay.
Anyway, that kind of looks interesting. I'm kind of following my shapes. Did you see how I'm following my shapes?
Yes.
Yeah. And I can always use gouache over the top of this or pastel or whatever I want to use. After all is said and done. Oh, I need a little sparkly. I can either take my knife and the surface of the paper, or I can wash. Whatever I want to do. I've got a little piece of mask over here in the corner, so I'm just going to rub it up. I think it's dry. Yep.
Oh, this is all plastic bag. Plastic film that can be recycled. That goes in the other one, yeah. Thank you. Yes, I absolutely agree.
Ah. Well,
Okay, I'm going to start rubbing some holes in this sucker.
Will the hair dryer help you to help the PBO dry, or will it make it stick to the paper?
It will, if you don't use it very much. I'm trying to get something to show you how this works. Hopefully. If I use the hair dryer, I put it on low.
Yes.
Yeah.
Should it be dry before you rub it on?
Yes. Shouldn't it?
Oh,
Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing that I did with the other guy. I'm just taking a paper towel and just rubbing off some of the stuff that I had on here. I'm going to paint all the blue first. I hope you guys can see that. I think you can. I've got some clean water. I've got some blue. I'm going to use a little cerulean just for. And, I can already tell that this is on hot press just by those strokes that I. And remind me to show you the sprinkle, which I forgot last time. I'm going to make it a little darker at the top and just let it float down. Float. And I'm going to still follow my Noton, if you will.
Okay, yes.
And I'm going to go, I'm going to keep this horizon line light, but I'm just going to go back and forth here. And as I get closer in here, the waves are going to get bigger and they're going to be smaller in the distance and get bigger. And I see that I have something going on here, and I'm going to do that. So I'm following my Noton pattern, kind of, sort of. I'm going to make some of these darker.
I don't like it. It doesn't stick to the paper. Really? Yeah.
I'm kind of liking my patterns. I'm wondering if I'll have enough at the top of this. I'm going to sprinkle, okay? See this area right here that's like half dry?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to sprinkle this, see what happens. See all those little things starting?
Oh,
Yes?
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah, so that's, I almost forgot again.
Ooh.
So that's a technique that you can use, and you can also put it in here. You know, if you want to put it in,
I don't like it.
I'm also using a paper towel and just blotting some of this. It'll give a different effect. And I am going to lay in that water. I'm going to paint all the blue first, all the cool, all the water, all this stuff. And I'm following my my guide. I don't care about going through that.
I'm not sure I can see what you're doing, Joe.
Oh, sorry. I'll raise the camera again. Sorry about that. So I'm just using my dagger brush, and I'm just going in a random path, back and forth,
Okay.
and making little wave touches, if you will. I see that I have something going on here. And I'll put that down and I'll blot it a little bit. And I kind of like this randomness, and I like the hardness of it. I think I'll soften that just a tad. And then I think I'll take a little darker version of that.
You've had breakfast and snacks.
I'm sorry? That looks kind of watery to me. You can always go back and touch with it later. So we've got our blue done, or our cool, I think. I might take a little bit of that darker while it's still kind of sort of wet, and just spatter just a little bit in here. Need a bigger brush. That brush is too small to spatter the way I wanted to. Need bigger drops. There we go.
Okay.
That'll just be enough for variety.
1 o'clock, not much longer. I'm supposed to be painting right now.
By the way, I don't know if you guys have seen this before. I'm going to straighten up my horizon line. And it's an old illustration trick. So I'm just going to mix up a little light blue. And see this ruler? I'm going to hold this. I'm going to hold this ruler. I'm looking for a piece of scrap paper. Yeah. Use this. I'm going to hold this ruler with my thumb and my fingers, and they're all going to hit the paper, the board at the same time. All my tips of my fingers and my thumb are all hitting the board at the same time, and I'm holding it at an angle. Once I have that established, all I have to do is hold the brush like I hold a pencil, and I'm going to put this little V right here, that little V. I'm just going to put that right against the metal or right against the ruler. I'm just going to pull my arm. I'm not going to pull my hand, I'm going to pull my arm. You see how you can get those perfect straight lines?
Mm-hmm.
Doing that? Yes? No?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm just going to pull this across here and
Where is my ruler?
across there to straighten up that horizon just a tad. There we go. That worked. I think. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a stab at painting these rocks before I take the mask off. And that's because I'm going to give that mask a little bit longer to dry. So we're going to be painting these rocks just like we did before. I know my light is coming out of the right, up above, but I don't care. I'm going to make my rocks this brighter color at this point, and the same here.
Those are washed.
I want that brighter color up here, and maybe on top of here, and maybe on top of this guy, and then I can go to my purplier kind of color, your redder kind of color. Just something warm. This guy's kind of in shadow over there, so I'll leave it that way. Now I'm going to have to let, oops, forgot the big guy. This guy. Yeah, better design. I don't want this guy to stand out too much, so I'm going to be kind of careful with my brighter color. I think we're following the Noton, huh?
Yes.
I got to dry that.
Me?
Okay, now I can go over this with a darker color. I'm going to get some purple and some alizarin and some Payne's gray. And I'm just going to paint right over the top of this. Wow. And that's going to let me, I don't need that for now, but that's going to let me scrape back and make a rock. And that's my shadow side. And this is all my shadow side. I can scrape right back.
Okay.
Don't need to putz too much with it. I'm following my Noton thingy. That's probably enough, so I want to dry that.
Needs more. Yeah. Oh.
Okay, we've got this far. See if the rest of this works. Let's see if we can.
Okay.
Wow. I'm going to use my big brush. A little blotting here and there. Actually, I'm going to use this first. I'm going to go back with some white and do some things that I think make it a better painting. So I wanted to notch that in there and make that rock a little bit more prominent. And so this is the advantage of being a multitasker with mediums. And I'll just spatter some of this to bring this up a little bit to a shape that I like. I did spatter, didn't I? It's okay, it all goes away.
Well,
Oh, I heard that.
you heard that, yeah. I'm glad I'm struggling.
Make that part a little darker and this over here a little darker to just capture that rock a little better. Touching with that and a little dark. Emphasize that. And look at all that wonderful bubbly stuff.
Mhm.
Now I have to see. I have to see what I have, so I got to take this off of here. So I don't see the mess. You like painting on the hot press?
Don't like it.
Something a little different. It'll take some of the techniques better because it's more on the surface. You're painting more on the surface of the paper than anything else. Now I can see what I need to paint or not. Once I take all this tape off, and actually I might be able to look at it a little bit better. And I think it's actually to the point now where I might want to just give it a rest and see what. See, I have a fresh eye at it.
Can you take a notan of that?
Yes, I can. Yeah, that's a good idea. I wonder if I wonder if I did it right or not. Let me see how I can do this. What do you guys think?
Oh, beautiful.
I love it. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, do you have any questions about the process? About how we got to here, I guess.
No, we have the video.
Yeah.
Joe, I have bought a mask up in that foam.
In the hair?
In the foam.
Yes, in here. That's the foam and the mask.
Yes.
Yes, that's all this.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I think you can see that pretty well, can't you?
Yes.
So that's part of the, that's part of the beauty of this whole thing. It's, I never know what I'm going to get. I mean, yes, I could go back and make it look exactly like the Noton with some more white paint or whatever. But the Noton was just for those big shapes. So let me, I'm going to have to, if you want a picture of this, I'm going to have to turn off this camera. Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. I'm going to have to there we go. I'm gonna have to turn off the camera for a little bit, and well, it's done anyway. So why don't I just take a shot of it and put it into Noton? I'm squinting my eyes at this, and I can see the darker shapes.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that's very interesting. I think I'll leave that alone. It's a little bit more intricate than the normal shapes. So I'm going to stop screen sharing so I can put this into Photoshop and see what's happening.
It was like magic, Joe. You made the rocks appear through the foam.
Yeah, that's what appealed to me about this guy. So let me. I already took a shot, I think. Of this, which we'll do. Okay. Make this smaller for now. Yeah.